What is going on to all my Jurassic Park fans out there, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new early movie review, and as you can see from my hat, from my shirt, and of course from the title of this video, this is my review of Jurassic World Dominion, a film I got the opportunity to check out in theaters the other night. And in this video, I'm going to share my pros and my cons. I'm going to let you know if I think it's worth checking out in theaters, but I'm going to also share my ranking of all 6 films in this franchise. We're going to be discussing that and so much more in today's spoiler-free review. But before we get into it, if you enjoyed this video, well, make sure you're checking me out on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to the channel and love early movie reviews, TV breakdowns, and live streams, well, come and join the community by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. And if you all enjoyed this spoiler-free movie review, well, make sure you're giving the video a thumbs up and also sharing it. But more importantly, sharing your thoughts on the film in the comments, from your pros, your cons, your thoughts on the direction, the dinosaurs, what was your favorite character, and also if you've seen all 6 films in this franchise, why don't you go ahead and share your ranking in the comments. With that being said, let's just jump into this review. Starting off with my positives, I want to talk about the director and also co-writer Colin Trevorrow, who I'm a fan of him as a director, and I will say his direction was stronger than his writing, which we'll talk about later. But as far as Colin, I thought he did a good job of handling the action sequences, the dinosaurs, bringing in the original characters who had a lot more to do in this film and were very heavily involved in this plot, more so than I imagined. I thought he did a good job of balancing all that stuff. And also, just looking at my audience that I saw this film with, it was a packed house. There were kids having a good time, there were teens, there were adults like myself. I thought Colin, for the most part, did a good job in directing this film, more so than he did with writing it. But getting back into the production, I thought, again, the action was really well done. I was on the edge of my seat, especially there's a sequence with motorcycles and dinosaurs chasing after people. I was having fun there. There's an airplane sequence. Action was great. Camera work was great. But listen, I cannot go without talking about the best part of this film, which is the dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is my favorite film of all time, and the reason I fell in love with that film and fell in love with film in general is seeing things that you would never think you would see in real life brought to the big screen, and seeing dinosaurs will never get old to me. The practical effects are fantastic. The sequences involving the dinosaurs were top-notch. Again, there are things that you have never seen dinosaurs do in this franchise that you see in this film, which I really enjoyed that element. Again, top-notch, hands down, great dinosaur stuff in this movie. And again, when the film focuses on the dinosaur, 2 thumbs up from me. So let's talk about some other stars, which are the actors in this film. Starting off with the new trilogy characters, I'm a Chris Pratt fan. I think him as Owen, he's fine. He's doing his thing. He's jumping, he's kicking, he's running. You know, he's the hero. I enjoyed that element for the most part. But I want to talk about Bryce Dallas Howard, who I've been a fan of since she was acting in you know, early 90s and stuff with her dad. But I really fell in love with her as an actress, but also a director and a creative when she got involved with Star Wars, The Mandalorian, Boba Fett, and I've really just appreciated her. And I will say, as far as Claire goes, I wasn't the biggest fan of Claire in Jurassic World and Jurassic Park or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This is the best version of her. And if I were to say, as far as art goes, if you go back and see Claire in Jurassic World and see her in this film, there's growth. You remember, she did not like kids. She didn't even like her own nephews in that film, but she's come a long way. She's more kind of family focused in this film, and she's kicking ass in this movie too. So Claire, out of the new trilogy characters, this is the best version of that character in this film. But let's talk about something that I really want to see, which was dinosaurs, number 1, but also the OG characters. Laura Dern, Sam Neill, and Jeff Goldblum. It's like they never left. They just fit so perfectly in this narrative. They're just, the chemistry's on point. The moments they're having in this film is great. What they're doing, the plot they're giving, not a fan. We'll talk about that later, but just seeing them on screen, the charm, the charisma, it's never been better. But I got to give them some awards out. The MVPs of this movie, it's a 2-way tie for me. There's a new character in this film played by DeWanda. Now, behind the scenes, little side tangent, if you all don't know, Colin Trevorrow was supposed to direct Star Wars Episode 9. And we all know Lando was in that film. Well, I think Colin Trevorrow gave some Lando stuff to his character played by Wanda. She is like a Lando-ish type of character. When you see the film, you know what I'm talking about from her. Is she a good guy? Is she a bad guy? And they're just seeing her kicking ass. This is a movie star, ladies and gentlemen. I know she was supposed to be in Captain Marvel. Things didn't work out with some scheduling. I hope that she gets to do more action because she kicks ass in this film, and I loved her. She almost stole the movie, but she has to share some great scenes with this other person. That's Jeff Goldblum. Him as Malcolm, I love him. He brings a lot of comedic elements to this film. He has some really great moments in this movie. Those two characters to me stole the movie, on top of the dinosaurs being great as well. So just recapping, the action's great. When the film focuses on the premise of dinosaurs and being coexisting with humans, I thought that was great. And also when we get those OG characters and their inclusion and how much they were in the film, again, I wasn't a fan of what they were doing, but I just love seeing my OG characters in this movie. And also, speaking of OG, there's some cool Easter eggs in this film that I enjoyed as a fan. So let's pivot and talk about my criticisms. Now, I want to start off talking about the marketing, which, as you all can see on the film now, the tagline reads, "The epic conclusion of the Jurassic era." That it was not. I never felt that finale. Like, there's still, money talks, right? I think they're going to still do more films in this franchise, but this never to me felt like this was the end of a franchise. There's a lot of plot armor in this film, I will say, but I never felt that finale grandioso approach to this film. So that was a negative. And also another thing about the marketing, the trailer sold me as, what does a world look like with dinosaurs being out on the free, coexisting with humans? That plot, it's in the film, but for like 5 minutes. They show you via news clips, a dinosaur in Argentina eats a little girl's hand. A dinosaur in New York City is, peeing in a pond. Like, those are like the only elements that we really focus on that premise. Because honestly, when you look at the film, it's not that global. Like, the threat is there, which we'll talk about here in a second, but it didn't feel like the trailer sold me on. Which, another thing I want to mention, this is more of a nitpick, but I'm a score hit. I love a good score. John Williams' score of Jurassic Park, one of the best of all time, and it's a character within itself. Michael Giacchino, one of my favorite composers in Hollywood, his score was very absent in this film. Like, I never felt that awe and just fandom of the score, because it just was kind of lacking to me, in my personal opinion. Some people might not notice it, but I noticed it, that it wasn't really present in the movie. So getting more into the minutia. The plot, I don't want to spoil it, but I'll just say this. It's silly. It's a silly ass plot. It's kind of all over the place, if I'm being honest with you. Without giving too much away, there's this corporation, Bison, and the CEO, the villain of this film, if we want to say that, absolutely laughable, ridiculous character. But then, just to give you a taste of something that this film just was like, what am I watching? There's a certain plot involving some continuations from Fallen Kingdom with the cloning and the geneticism and all that stuff. That stuff to me was silly as hell. And there's this kind of underground kidnapping woman in a white suit plot that literally at points I'm like, did they get this from like a Reddit, like a subreddit, and thought it was a good idea to implement this in a film? The story in this film, which I'll be honest with you, I don't go into these films looking for this, super crazy, integral science fiction story, but at least something that's comprehensible and also makes sense. That it was not. The plot is very silly in this film, so I'm going to warn you all now, don't go into this film looking for a cohesive plot, because you're not going to get that in this film. Which, another thing I will mention as far as criticisms, as far as the dialogue, it's CW. There's some thank God for these actors, because there's some plot, there's some dialogue that I thought was TV bad. And also, last thing I want to mention, ways to describe, again, the plot and certain things in this film, it's just silly as hell. And sometimes you just got to shut your brain off and just enjoy the dinosaurs. So, pros, cons, before I give you all my score, and if I think this is worth checking out in theaters, make sure you like the video, share the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Overall, I came in with very, very low expectations based on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I think it would really help your experience if you lower your expectations as well. At its best, it's thrilling dinosaur sequences. Seeing the original characters again was great. DeWanda Wise, Jeff Goldblum are incredible. Again, the plot is ridiculous. And I will say, I enjoyed Macy's character more so in this film than Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which again, that film is terrible. Overall, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I know it's been getting kind of thrown in the dumpster, a lot of negative reviews. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. Again, the plot's very bad, but the action's there. The dinosaurs are there. The characters I'm having fun with them. Again, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. And with that being said, let me rank the films for you all. Number 1, without a doubt, is Jurassic Park. Number 2 for me is Jurassic World. I actually really enjoy that film. I'm going to go number 3, Jurassic Park Lost World. Number 4 for me is this film, Jurassic World Dominion. Then after that, I'm going to go Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And then the worst to me is Jurassic Park 3. Like a talking dinosaur. Are we serious? So that's my thoughts on the film, my score, my ranking. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, pros, cons, how you would rank the films. Do you want to see more? I'm okay if we never get another Jurassic Park film. I'm all right with that. If they do continue to move on, which I think they will, I want more DeWanda Wise, have her involved, and also bring in Jeff Goldblum. I would love to see a film with those two. But hey, again, pros, cons, thoughts, theories, all that different stuff that you all have for the future of this franchise, and your score of the film once you've seen it. Let's have those discussions in the comments. If you stuck around to this point in the video, thank you so much. Again, before you leave, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Come and join the community. We have a lot of fun over here, and I want you all to be a part of it. With all that being said, hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you're staying safe. Come and join the community. Check out my most recent reviews. Check out my most recent breakdown, and we'll catch you all on the next video.